The Greater Blight is an optional super boss that attacks you in the void if you don't hide in a hole and wait long enough. Once you encounter it, it spends 3 turns approaching the party and starts attacking on the 4th turn. On the first 2 turns it approaches, it has 104% evasion, so no physical attacks can hit it. On the 3rd turn, it drops to 65%. It has no additional magic evasion, so certain spells can hit it. Damage it takes while approaching carries over. Once it actually arrives, it has 5 parts to contend with. Its torso has 2,000 hit points and ends the fight when defeated. Its arm does nothing and you could ignore it. Both of its legs have 1,000 hit points and use Stomp every turn. Stomp deals 35 blood damage and always causes a fracture. It can be evaded and has a 10% chance to miss. Its head has 2,000 hit points and uses Chomp every turn. Chomp deals 120 piercing damage, making it the single hardest hitting enemy attack in the entire game. It also has a 70% chance to cut an arm and a 40% chance to cut a leg, making it, to my knowledge, the only skill in the game that can cut off 2 limbs in 1 hit. Like Stomp, it can be evaded and has a 10% chance to miss. The head has the same evasion as the torso, and defeating it ends the fight. Because of the Blight's overwhelming damage output, even tanking strategies like Blood Golem and Pheromones will not work here. Blood Golem survives 1 turn on average. If you want to wrangle this dinosaur, you cannot let it touch you. The simplest way is to bring a purple vial and survive 1 round of attacks from it. On the 2nd turn, not the 1st turn, the 2nd turn, this is important, throw the purple vial. It will arrive on the 4th turn, make 1 set of attacks, and die. If you throw it on the 1st turn, he'll leave his torso behind and fight you without it. If you have the Gaunt Armor and Guard, you'll take about 50 damage and get a fracture. If you have Blood Golem and Pheromones, you can direct all of the attacks to the Golem instead. However, there's no guarantee you'll find a purple vial, so the second way is to use magic. You need to deal a total of 2,000 damage with magic in 2 turns. Chains of Torment deals 900 and then an extra 240 of bleeding damage, so if you can cast it twice, you'll win. You can learn Chains of Torment off the Tormented one in the present after you defeat him. To cast it twice in 2 turns, you'll either need a second party member or the White Angel Soul, as well as a very powerful mind restorative like an Elixir of Mind or Blue Demon Powder. Cast the spell, restore your mind, cast it a 2nd time, easy win. If you want, you can mix together both of these strategies by using a purple vial on turn 1 and Chains of Torment on turn 2, but in my opinion that's a wasteful overkill. The 3rd way is my personal favorite. Just turn this into Dark Souls and dodge all his attacks. Do keep in mind, this will not work if you have teratophobia, erotophobia, or panophobia, since the phobia status lowers your evasion. The only way to have access to the Void is to defeat Francois, which means you have a Domination Soul and access to the Golden Temple. If you cut the heart in the Golden Temple in the present, then go to the backyard, you can find the Butterfly Soul on the ground. With the Domination Soul, you can learn Defense Stance. The accessory adds 50% to your evasion, and Defense Stance adds another 50% to your evasion for 5 turns. This means all of his attacks will miss you. As long as you remember to use Defense Stance every few turns, you can even punch the dinosaur to death just to say that you did.
Let me know down in the comments which enemy you want me to cover next. I'll ignore it, but let me know anyway.